Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode 19 of my kind of a podcast. For those of you who have seen my previous episodes, you know I had another cat, a calico cat called 180. Unfortunately, a few months ago, 180 ran away and she didn't come back. And so I was really heartbroken, and for a very long time I was trying to find another cat to replace her. And this little one came into our life on the 21st of June, and her name is Diesel. She is a bicolor, I guess, mask and mantle, black and white cat. And I like her very much. She's very small. When I got her, she was just a few weeks old, and she is a really lovely cat. But I just wanted to introduce her to the camera for my return to making videos today. But she's not going to stay on me because she keeps scratching and trying to run away. She loves to climb and to be on top. She likes to sit on my shoulder and even on my head sometimes. But anyway, that's Diesel, so our new podcast pet. Today I would like to discuss something that came up while I was browsing through the internet and talking with some friends. The topic is the use of black slang, talking with a black accent, or AAVE, which is African American Vernacular English. I came across this conversation from somebody that I am subscribed to on YouTube, and that's Luke Alexander, who is a young YouTuber from South Africa, who is a white bisexual male, and who has been kind of called out for speaking in what he calls a black accent, or using African American slang in his videos. And this kind of topic kind of brought up some feelings in me, especially because I have already spoken about something like that previously in my most popular video called They Want to Be Us, where I'm discussing the fact that being black or associated with black and blackness is now considered cool and everyone wants a piece of it. But today I would like to discuss a few more things in that regard, and especially the link between this and cultural appropriation or cultural appreciation, whatever you want to call that, and why I think we need to have this discussion, and why I am conflicted about this whole concept of how, if you're a white person, you shouldn't use certain words or you shouldn't use certain phrases because they belong to black people, and because of the fact that they originated in black culture. I am a black woman, but I am not an African American woman. So a lot of things that go on in the US are completely outside of my context and of my way of life. A lot of things don't make sense to me in the same way because that's not my experience. That's not what I've gone through. While I understand that it can sometimes happen that your culture gets stolen from you, I actually wonder if this situation is not more a case of black culture becoming popular culture, becoming mainstream culture or popular culture altogether. And if pushing back against that is not actually counterintuitive in terms of wanting equity, social and racial justice, are we actually doing the right thing when we say white people back off? Especially when actually, if I was to start talking like an African American woman, nobody would mind as much because, oh, I'm black, so yeah, I'm allowed? Or am I? I don't know, actually. I don't really know. Let me use an analogy or another example to express what I mean when I say that I don't necessarily agree with the fact that this is considered to be wrong. Like, you know, I am from the Caribbean, and I am very big fan of reggae and dancehall culture. I listen to a lot of dancehall music and reggae music. Not as much as I used to. I used to be a lot more current than I am now, but this is still the kind of music that I go to. And back in the day, so when I was a teenager, there was this thing that we called the Stone Love horn. So this is a sound that was used to identify a specific sound system called Stone Love, and that they use in order to kind of watermark their music so that people listening to the music that they were playing would know that Stone Love playing, that Stone Love sound system playing, because they would hear that horn and they would know, and that was a way for them to identify themselves and to be recognizable within the flood of DJs and sound systems that were available to listen to over the radio or in parties and everything. This sound effect was specific to them, and they were basically the only ones using it. But nowadays, everyone is using that sound. I've heard it in Beyonce's song called Hold Up. It started with DJs, other DJs, any DJs starting to use that sound effect because they had started to become used to hearing this sound effect and others on mixtapes, so they started to use it as well. If you listen to a lot of dancehall music, you will also recognize the way that the DJs talk over the music. They all talk in the same kind of voice. They all do this same very loud, very throaty voice where they shout things, and this originally was used so that when people were recording music over the radio, that they couldn't play it anywhere and claim that it was theirs. They always had a DJ talking over the music, and they had those sound effects to identify the sound systems that were playing. But now everyone is using that horn, that foghorn sound effect in all kinds of contexts. When they like a music, or when somebody says something that is considered, important or something, you will see people using that sound effect in that way. But most of the people who do use it, they don't know the origins of it. They don't know that it was an identifying sound for Stone Love sound system, and that it was taken by DJs, and then now it's kind of become part of the mainstream culture. Everyone hearing that sound understands what is the purpose behind it, even though the purpose has changed over time, but people know what it means. And so that's kind of the way it feels to me. It kind of annoys me. It kind of bothers me in a way that this was taken from a culture that I enjoy, and now it is diluted to the point where the people that are using it don't even know where it comes from. Like the word stan, for example, many people don't have any idea that it is from the Eminem song, and they just use the word stan because everyone is using the word stan, and they don't care to find out what is the origin of that word. And so this is the kind of things that happen, that certain words or certain phrases become part of mainstream culture, mainstream language, and especially Twitter and online culture. And so claiming it as belonging to a certain type of people becomes a little difficult when it is used by so many people. And in that situation, I am not sure that we are actually looking at cultural appropriation. we are more looking at certain things becoming mainstream because more people start to use it. So if we were to think about the way people talk and the slang that people use over time, for example, a while ago, if you wanted to sound cool and sound in with the times, you had to use surfer slang. You had to talk like a surfer and do that to say hello. And also, a lot of people don't know the origins of this as being the surfer, why this is the surfer salute. Then you have things like wearing jeans. Wearing jeans was for cowboys and for poor people and for, and now everyone wears jeans, and you have expensive jeans, and you have dressed up jeans and everything, and nobody feels that the jeans were stolen from the culture. They just became mainstream. What is important in my eyes is that people who do use this African American vernacular English, that they know where it comes from, that they for them to be aware of the fact that it originates from Black culture. But I don't really see an issue or a big problem with Black culture becoming more mainstream. I think where it becomes a problem is if white people are okay to use these terms, but then Black people get stigmatized or classified as ghetto or whatever when they use it, which I'm not sure is the case. Nowadays, we can even say that hip hop and R&B are pop music. And that's the kind of music that everybody listens to, and everybody makes music that was originally Black. But it's not only Black people who make this kind of music anymore. To me, it feels a little like Black culture is slowly becoming mainstream culture. And I feel that pushing back against that is very counterintuitive, in that we are fighting for equity, racial justice, and everything. And maybe this is how we will get it when we start to become more of the norm, when we start to be the originators of the trends, when we start to be the ones people look up to for guidance on fashion, music, language, those kind of things that are very important in our culture nowadays, especially. So for all of these reasons, I think what is important is for people to know and to understand where the language that they use comes from, but not for them to be cast aside as, thieves, because they use certain words that don't originate from their own culture. I don't think it's a bad thing. I understand it is a problem when it is still used as a way to discriminate against your people. But if it's not, if it's okay for you to say, "Oh, child," and it's also okay for a white bisexual man from South Africa to say it, then I don't think it's necessarily the worst. Just as long as we understand where it comes from and where it originated. And also, when you think about it, this type of language, the Nicki Minaj reaction gifs and Cardi B and all of that. So when we think about it, this type of language originated from Black women, then was taken over by Black gays, then was taken over by all the gays, and is now being fed back to us as part of the culture. And so I kind of understand that, you know, it's been taken from Black women, but maybe we should blame the gays first. I don't know. Before we blame white people for doing it, maybe we should look at the whole process by which these words and these things came into Twitter culture and online culture in general. And maybe when you think about it, it's kind of a colonization in reverse in action, you know? My thoughts about the whole thing are very muddled. I feel that I have a very clear idea what I believe, but I find it hard to express it in words. So I hope I was making sense to you. I hope that you will understand what I'm trying to get at and where I'm coming from, and that you had a good time listening to me ramble. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you had a good time and that I will see you next time when we will talk about something completely different. And I say goodbye.